Hi, and welcome back to the Return Homestead. Today we're going to walk through the art garden. It's starting to come to life now, so not everything is blooming, but what is blooming now won't be blooming later. Over here we have a knockout rose. A knockout rose will bloom profusely. You've got to keep them deadheaded. I just deadheaded these the other day, and as you can see, I already need to do it. Also, they have no scent at all, so you wouldn't know you even had a rose. We had a lot of rain last night, and a lot of the flowers got knocked down. We were really fortunate because a lot of people north of us had golf ball size hail and they lost their entire garden. So I don't mind a few down flowers. These are called Cupid's Mix. So they only get to be about 12 inches tall. I couldn't find the seeds this time, but these are seeds I saved from my plants last year. The gladiolas that I pulled out of the middle island, I just pretty much threw them in the ground. I don't know if I'm going to get any blooms out of them this year, but they look great.
So the general word though is don't transplant bulbs out of season. So if you're not in the fall or the middle of the winter, you shouldn't be digging up your bulbs and moving them, but we did anyway, and as you can see, they're growing just fine.
This is a calendula plant that hadn't started blooming, and this is a Cosmo. Both are saved seeds from last year. The Cosmo that I have is called Lemonade, so it's pink with a yellow border. This is yarrow. Yarrow's medicinal, and it's great for coagulating blood. This is called Love Parade, and I grew it from seed. Okay, right here is the Limelight hydrangea. This is the second year we've had it. It's actually getting ready to set blooms on it. It's a panicle hydrangea, so it gets a cone-shaped flower on it. It blooms on new wood. So you want to prune this plant right before it starts leafing out. It needs a lot of water. Its root name is Hydra, meaning water. They love a lot of water. This planter gets a lot. This will get 6 to 8 feet tall and wide. That's why I put it in front of the house, because we get so much sun on the front of the house. I'm hoping to block it. Look at this echinacea. This is the most gorgeous color of echinacea I've ever seen. It's also a perennial. It'll come back every year, and a medicinal. You can make a syrup out of it to keep you well. Those are salmon zinnias. This is all saved seed. I didn't buy any of these flowers this year. Up against the porch is a climbing hydrangea. It blooms on old wood, so you don't want to cut this back right before spring. You want to cut it back after it has bloomed. Now I transplanted 2 of them from behind the barn, and so I'm hoping to see some blooms this year. These plants can get up to 40 feet tall, so you want to prune it to keep it under control. Another Limelight hydrangea. This is Angelica. Angelica is an herb that's used for cooking. It's got some medicinal benefits to it as well. Look at the color on this yarrow. This is the Love Parade again. So this mix has all of these colors, including the white. I love it. It can get up to 4 feet tall. This is a marshmallow plant. It's a part of the mallow family. It's in the same family as okra. In fact, the flowers look a lot like an okra plant. These get 4 to 6 feet tall. It's also in the same family is hollyhock and cotton. This plant has a lot of mucilage in it, which is a clear, sticky substance. And the French started making candy out of it. We know it as marshmallows. Unfortunately, they don't use any of the mallow plant in it anymore. It's cornstarch, corn syrup, and glycerin. It is said the Indians used the mucilage to soothe a sore throat or cough. That one back there is every bit 6 feet. This is a black-eyed Susan that's just now starting to open. So these are also a perennial. The butterflies love them, and if you're fortunate enough to have hummingbird moths, they also like them. Over here we have an oriental lily. They're big and pink, and it's a bulb, so they're just getting ready to open up. They're not open yet.
I love the smell of those things when they're coming to full bloom.
They smell, you see them in stores a lot in arrangements. It's the big pink lily that you see. I want to show you something over here growing up against my porch. If you see this plant, get rid of it. This is Virginia creeper. It will take over everything. Now, when these first come out, I think there's a bright blue flower. Yes, right there. They're beautiful. But as they start dying back, they get dead looking, but they also, I think they're called forget-me-nots because they get these little burrs on them.
Oh, those are the ones that stick to your socks.
They stick to everything. They're sticking to my hand. And wherever they drop, they'll grow. So these were growing in a pot similar to that. And it dropped seed, and now I've got this whole area full of forget-me-nots. They're pretty, but if you don't want them taken over, that's something you wouldn't want. This was a surprise. This was a snapdragon. I didn't plant it this year. It seemed to, ouch. What is that? Oh, it's forget-me-nots.
They are everywhere.
Yes. This is a snapdragon. It volunteered this year. Anywhere you have open soil, it's going to try and cover itself. Unfortunately for us, it covers itself in weeds. So I can go through and weed this constantly, but they're going to come up. So I need to either cover the ground with ground cover or heavily mulch it.
I think we do need to get some mulch in here.
We do. This is goldenrod, also coming through everywhere. And the cats are fighting. That's awesome.
Hello, kitty.
Okay, this is ajuga. Ajuga is a ground cover. And I've transplanted it from all over the property, and it was a small clump last year, and it's starting to spread. I need more of this stuff because it covers the ground so I don't get so many weeds, and I don't spend so many hours on my kneeler. That over there is cat's meow. It's a branded plant from Proven Wonders. It's a catnip. It is a perennial. That one will stay low like that, but the pollinators absolutely love that plant.
I still say it smells like a memory. I don't know which memory, but it smells like one.
This is mullein. Mullein is extremely soft. They say you can use the leaves and make a poultice for inflammation. But the farmers used to burn these leaves in front of a cow so the cow would inhale the smoke because it's healing to the lungs, which is what brought me to get this. It's known as a candlestick plant. It's also known as Aaron's rod. The flowers and the leaves, you let them dry out and you can make a tea from it. This is a Shasta daisy. I did not plant this plant, but look at how gorgeous it is. The birds have been very active here, and they've planted several of these. They grow wild all over the property. This is the plant you saw Mike and I dig up down below, and it's a spotted geranium.
Is this the actual plant we dug up?
Yeah,
Holy cow,
So-
man, that's doing good.
it's doing great. This is a branded plant by Proven Winners. Now, it's called an Amazing Daisy, and I did deadhead it. It's a cut and come again flower, so if you keep it trimmed back, it will reproduce. This thing was a ball of flowers earlier, but I had to deadhead it. Birds have been busy. Another sunflower and another daisy. Hi, kitty kitty. This is another spotted geranium.
Hello, kitty kitty.
And there's a black-eyed Susan. Remember, that's perennial. That plant will get to be about 2 to 3 feet tall and 2 to 3 feet wide. It will fill that area. And this is for our gardeners, the ones that have been planting all of our seed for us. They're doing
So we
a
just
good
put
job.
seed out for them.
They're doing a good job. Another one they planted.
It's hard to go wrong when nature takes over and puts the plants in the ground for you, huh? Those are beautiful.
They are. Oh, there is a back here. I almost forgot because I just noticed it. This is an African daisy. This grew from seeds, so the center is purple. It's not real big right now, and it will get big like these daisies that I just showed you. Beautiful, perennial. I don't know if it'll perennialize here though. It may or may not. This is a red dianthus. It's a perennial. It stays low like that. When it's totally covered with flowers, it really does pop in your garden.
And those bloom throughout the year, right?
Yeah.
So you get multiple bloomings?
Yes. Some people call them Sweet William. This is Creeping Jenny, and it is quite invasive. That's why it's in a pot. I do have some other flowers planted in here. That is an African daisy. But I can't remember what all I planted in there. I gotta wait for them to bloom.
You'll know when they bloom.
That's it. The first year we moved here, a neighbor brought me a couple of bachelor button plants. And it has gone nuts. I like the cottagey garden feel that it gives. They're gorgeous. So I've got them in lavender, pink, and this kind of periwinkle blue. These are blanket flowers. I did not plant this here, the birds did. There's a whole bunch over there. So when we came from Nevada, right before we left, it was like the day before we left, we went around and started pulling the seed heads off of this. Ouch. This is the seed head. So it's fairly soft right now. You're gonna let it dry out. And then you're gonna pull these out. These are your seeds. Once they're dry, and even now I can pull them out and throw them, they will grow. In fact, last year I threw a bunch of seed over there, and right before our first frost, they were about 3 to 4 inches tall, and everything froze. I thought I lost them, but obviously they did very well through the freeze. They are cut and come again flower, and as long as you keep these heads trimmed off, they will come back. These irises I dug up at the beginning of spring and literally just threw them on the ground. It doesn't take much around here. They're growing great. So this here is all branded plants. These are Supertunia Vista Bubblegum, Supertunia Vista Silverberry, and this is Supertunia, what is it called? Royal Magenta. These will totally take up this whole window here. Now under here somewhere, and it was a bad choice, is a sweet potato vine.
It never really got started, did it?
No, these things will take over anything you plant them with. You can plant them in the landscape too.
There's some of it in here. Right ahead there.
Oh, sweet potato vine. It's kind of hidden. It's met its match, that's for sure. Another canna, more goldenrod. Oh, that one's about ready to open.
Yeah, it's getting close.
It is. I can't wait to see it. It didn't bloom last year. I thought it killed them, but apparently not.
You'd think we actually planted this goldenrod, as much of it is popping up.
It's everywhere. That and mugwort, which is right there. Also a very active weed here in Kentucky. Stuff is horrible. And then on the other side of the studio, I have the exact same planting, although there is a bonus. Somehow we got a yellow nasturtium in here.
That's another petunia.
No, that's a nasturtium. See the leaf?
Well, that is definitely a nasturtium leaf.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Birds are busy here.
That's nasturtium, no doubt.
Mm-hmm. And I've never had a yellow nasturtium. They
Yep,
have
that's
you can
nasturtium.
eat the whole plant. Over here we have a lavender chiffon rose of Sharon. I've also got one over there. Because we get so much sun on these windows, these things can get 6 to 10 feet tall. It is also a proven winners plant. Last year this thing was covered with double lavender flowers, and I'll see if we can put that picture up. And I'm hoping that we get some height on this to give us some relief from the sun up here. This here is cat's pajamas, like Cat's Meow, except for it gets very large. It's also a Proven Winners branded, and it will take over this whole space. In fact, I've got 2 of them right here. So I'm hoping that we'll fill this all in, eliminating the need for weeds. This plant here, most people call a weed. This is a broadleaf plantain. What you do is you want to dry these leaves out. You don't want to get rid of it. You want to dry the leaves out. Once they're dry, infuse it in oil, and you're going to let it sit about 6 weeks. It'll turn your oil green. I make a salve out of that, which is really good for mosquito bites, and they love me. And any kind of a rash like poison oak, poison ivy, anything rashy, you can put the salve on it. It's made with infused oil, and I use olive and beeswax. This is my favorite. This is called Banana Cream Pie. It's a branded plant by Proven Winners. It starts in a banana cream color, softening to a creamy white. This thing looks like this all summer long, and you want to deadhead the spent flowers. This thing's amazing.
That is pretty.
Oh, it's my favorite.
Makes me hungry.
Oh, makes you want pie?
Oh, yeah.
See? This looks like it's going to be a queen lime, just like this one. The salmon zinnias that aren't open yet are my favorite. This is a wild hydrangea. I don't know if it blooms or not. It grew here. I didn't plant it. So they're kind of grow wild all over here. So I left it to see what was going on with it. And you remember in one video, Mike and I digging up ferns. This is a blue hosta. Now, the darker the hosta, the more shade they need. The lighter the hosta, the more sun they can take. However, they do only like shade, and these are doing great. They will multiply. It is a bulb, and I've got one here as well. But this is in a blue. I don't remember what this is. And then I have fake strawberries growing.
Oh, the wild strawberries.
Mm-hmm. Hey, boys.
Hello, kitty.
You hungry?
Hello, kitty, kitty. Start again.
And we're going to finish out with a calendula. These are seeds that I saved from last year, and I threw a bunch out. And it looks like every one of them came up. These are the seed heads. So the seeds are actually this piece on the outside. And once they're dried out, basically just throw them. They come up. This is great infused in oil. A lot of people use this on babies for diaper rash. You can put the flowers in a tea. You can infuse these in oil and you can use them as skincare. You can put them in soap. These things have so much value, not to mention the fact that they're absolutely gorgeous and easy to grow. So that's the flower garden. Save your seed. All of these flowers came from saved seed. They're huge. I mean, it's like getting free flowers, so why not keep them? Thank you for joining us today, going through the art garden. Soon my flowers will all be open and I can use them in painting. Until next time, thank you. We'll see you later.